Mark here for another Wisdom and Knowledge 5. And today I want to talk about the Olympics, the opening ceremony in the 2024 Games in Paris. So let's begin. First off, I want to share photos of the opening ceremony. An opening ceremony that was, nothing like we've ever seen before. First of all, they get rid of the stadium. They've always had opening ceremonies in the stadium, right? Hey, got to throw that away, and I think personally it's because it's out with the old, in with the new. They always have a reason why they did things. Not only that, oh, we can't have, large gatherings. We got to have social distancing. We all witnessed that in 2020 and beyond. So they have that aspect. So they decide to have it along the French River. So, and it, for those who said I'm boycotting the Olympics, stay tuned and watch the whole video before you decide to actually boycott the Olympics. Anyways, I'm marked as Wisdom and Knowledge 5, so let's begin. Let me show you some photos from the opening ceremonies. I would show video, but the copyright claims are ridiculous, and NBC will have anything taken down, or the Olympic Committee, whoever it may be. So let's get into it. Paris Olympics 2024, right here. Look at these. Uh, from the 2024 Paris Olympics opening ceremony. Look at this. Okay, there we go. There we go. I mean, these are pretty, there's Celine Dion performing, of course. They have big names like Celine Dion. There's Serena Williams. But let's get to the Eiffel Tower, of course. But let's get to some of the controversial things. Okay, so they have an AI, horse, you know, out there. AI horse rides out on a horse. AI delivers the uh, flag, and allegedly the flag was put upside down when they, you know, raised the flag. I can't confirm that, so I'm not gonna say either way. But this, the horseman riding out, really sparks Revelation 6 verses 8. Uh, they bring these things into these performances, into these shows, these rituals for a reason. Look at this, the world stage. Of course, the world is the stage. Okay, that was the parade, I think, right there. And what's funny is this is the uh, Juliet Armanet. She performed Imagine. Imagine there's no heaven. Imagine all the people. Yeah, and that's when the Horsemen came out afterwards. So they all have it planned. And then how the countries they go out, and there's one of the torchbearers, but the countries they all go out, and normally around the track with their country. Well, this is what they did. They all got on boats. They Sweden, they had, every single, country under the sun get on these boats. And some of them, USA had this huge boat, a massive boat. And other countries had three countries to a boat. And what was one thing I did like about this is that they had uh Palestine on there. They actually had recognized Palestine. So much love. And let's get that. Let's show the Palestine boat. Here we go. Right here. This is the Palestine boat, so they actually recognize them, and they said that the Olympics have recognized Palestine for X amount of years. So, and that's a good thing that they did that. But let's show some more photos from this event. opening ceremonies, which did turn a lot of people off. Well, we've seen enough photos so far, but let's get into one of the controversial events at the opening ceremony. Olympic opening ceremony tableau sparks outrage among Christian community. This comes from the Today Show. The 2024 Paris Olympics opening ceremony was filled with memorable moments, from the lighting of the cauldron to Celine Dion taking the stage. And Celine Dion was someone who was, knocked out of the music industry, because for health issues, and I don't want to get into that, but she just makes a comeback at the Paris Olympic Games. The 4-hour ceremony kicked off the start of the Summer Games, July 26th, with athletes gliding down the River Seine and performers reenacting internationally historical moments. During a controversial tableau, drag queens and dancers lined a long table in an image that some thought resembled Leonardo da Vinci's Last Summer Supper, the portrait of Jesus Christ and his 12 apostles. Following the scene, some called the imagery a mockery and insulting to Christian people. Meanwhile, others found the moment a celebration for the LGBT community and inclusivity. On July 28th, Paris, uh, in Paris, 2024, spokesperson Anne Decamps apologized if people have taken offense. Clearly, there was never any intention to show disrespect to any religious groups. On the contrary, I think that the artistic director, Thomas Jolly, really tried to celebrate community tolerance. As Camps said at a press conference, we believe that this ambition was achieved. If people have taken any offense, we are really sorry. While some are connecting the scene in the Olympics opening ceremony to the Last Supper, in one scene from the opening ceremony, a dinner platter lifted uh, to show a naked person painted blue and singing in French. In the background, dancers and drag queens struck poses all along a long table. Panning through the tableau, a camera first showed a person crowned with an aureole in front of DJ turntables. The shot then showed the rest of the table lined with performers holding their poses. The table then transformed into a catwalk as the drag queens and models took the stage in homage to Paris fashion scene. The official X account for the Olympic Games shared photos of the moment and referenced the Greek god Dionysus. The interpretation of the Greek god Dionysus makes us aware of the absurdity of violence between human beings, read a tweet captioning the photos. But some connected the tableau to a biblical scene Da Vinci portrayed in the Last Supper when Jesus Christ and his apostles shared a final meal before the crucifixion. When asked about the backlash on July 27th, the ceremony's artistic director, Thomas Jolly, said at a press conference he did not intend to subvert, mock, or shock. Well, we'll show you who this Thomas Jolly is in a moment. We wanted to include everyone. As simple as that, he said. In France, we have freedom of creation, artistic freedom. We are lucky in France to live in a free country. I didn't have any specific messages that I want to deliver. In France, we are a republic. We have the right to love whom we want. We have the right not to worship, not to be worshipers. We have a lot of rights in France. And this is what I wish to convey. And then as you go further down, appearing on French news, Jolly confirmed the Last Supper was not my inspiration. It is Dionysus who arrives on this table. He is there because the god of celebration is Greek mythology. The idea was to have a pagan celebration connected to the god of Olympus. You don't say, hey. You will never find in me a desire to mock and denigrate anyone. Well, we'll show you who this Thomas Jolly is in just a moment. Before we start talking about that reactions to Olympian opening ceremony performers. Some were supportive of the artistic vision, arguing that Tableau was fighting to make a statement on inclusivity. We know in the LGBTQ community in France, we are far from what the ceremony showed. There was much progress to do in society regarding transgender people. It's terrible that to legally change their identity, they're forced to be on trial. France's inner LGBT James Leprun said per Associated Press. Who won the third season of Drag Race France this year told AP they were amazed. I thought it would be a 5-minute drag event with queer representation. I was amazed. It started with Lady Gaga, then had drag queens, a huge rave, and a fire in the sky. It felt like a crowning all over again. I'm proud to see all my friends and queer people of the world. And then this is what happened. This is the one that they're saying, hey, it was like the Last Supper. And looks just like the Last Supper. Others, including U.S. political figures and Catholic Church leaders, expressed outrage at the scene. House Speaker Mike Johnson shared an image. Yeah, that House Speaker Mike Johnson, the guy who is a Zionist puppet, who has no place, has no interest in humanity, is only cares about, Israel, Zionism, Netanyahu. He is a puppet of them. He could not care about us. He said this in an image and called the taboo shocking and insulting. Last night's mockery of the Last Supper was shocking and insulting to Christian people around the world who watched the opening ceremony of the Olympic Games. He said in a tweet, Catholic leaders in France called the scene mockery of Christianity. Well, Mike Johnson, you don't serve Christ. Christ would not worship Netanyahu. Christ would not worship Israel, modern day Israel. He would not. You do not represent people. You do not represent humanity. And we'll get to that in a moment. This ceremony has unfortunately included scenes of derision and mockery of Christianity, which we were very deeply deplore. The Conference of French bishops said in a statement. Harrison Butker, the Kansas City Chiefs kicker, like we care what this guy thinks, okay, who gave a controversial speech on birth control, COVID-19 restrictions, women's roles, what quoted, quoted the Bible on X after the ceremony. Be not deceived, God is not mocked, for what things a man sow, there he shall also reap, for that what he soweth in his flesh of the flesh also shall reap corruption. But he that soweth the spirit of the spirit shall reap everlasting life, he wrote, citing Galatians 6, verses 7. Well, let's get over to the guy who, because it wasn't, the Olympics, it wasn't them who did that. It was this guy right here. Who is Thomas Jolly? This is the guy that directed that, orchestrated the whole let's get out of the stadium. Let's do this. Hey, fuck you, Thomas Jolly. And I say this because wait till you see who this guy is. Yes, yes, yes. Wait till you see who this guy is. Okay. And since the opening ceremony of the 2024 Paris Olympics Games in France on July 26th, social media has been buzzed with the controversial performances that were included in the event. First, what was very controversial and took the internet by storm was the mockery of the Last Supper, which is considered to be very sacred to Christians as it depicts the last dinner Jesus had with the 12 apostles. The drag queen show in the opening ceremony stirred debate as the performers were accused of directly imitating with mockery the Last Supper. Many religious people calling to boycott the games. Uh, Here's one person on X. Good. The Olympics have removed their disgusting opening ceremony from YouTube due to outrage expressed by people worldwide. Now, I cannot confirm that NBC or the Olympics have removed it from YouTube. That's what she's saying. Many question who the person in the mastermind is behind the opening ceremony uh, show sparked fuss not only for containing religious meaning, but also, as some explain, containing satanic hints. You think it is a ritual? It is the opening ceremonies. You see this at all the opening ceremonies, the halftime shows of Super Bowls, you name it. This is nothing new, nothing out of the sun. The only difference is normally they had this in a stadium. They didn't. They decided to get out of that realm, out with the old, in with the new. Uh, anyways, uh, according to some people on social media, the World Olympics organizers have removed the opening ceremony from YouTube due to recent backlash. And so multiple people are saying that it was removed. If you can verify that, I can't verify that. Feel free to leave it in the comments. But who is Thomas Jolly, director of the controversial Paris 2024 Olympics opening ceremony? Thomas Jolly is the art director responsible for the Paris Olympics opening ceremony, which was held in Paris on July 26th. He is a French actor and artistic director of La Piccola Familia, a theater company that he founded in Rouen in 2006. And correct me if I'm not pronouncing everything correctly. I'm not great at French, that's for sure. Jolly gained wide fame after he performed a play by William Shakespeare for up to 14 hours at a stretch in 2014. Wow. Wow. I'm just impressed. 14 hours of, anyways. Charlie, 42, directed the National Drama Center Les Croix des Anges from 2020 until 2022. In 2022, Thomas Jolly was picked to serve as the director for the 2024 Paris Olympics. Again, he was selected. It's a selection show. He was selected. Okay. NBC didn't select him. The CBC, whoever, whatever outlet you were watching the opening ceremonies on, they had nothing to do with selecting him. This was the Olympics. The Olympics selected him as the director for this, for the 2020. Tony Estanguet, the president of the Paris Olympics 2024, said Jolly was a bold choice, but was consistent with our vision. See, so they had a vision. They knew this guy was going to carry out their vision, and it's like, okay. And it says right here, the organizer of the 2024 Paris Olympics, French and Israeli, uh, you know, French and Zionist. And it says it says with all of its satanic, Masonic, and LGBTQ imagery, and yeah, I watched the whole thing. It was filled with that. This is an agenda. This is what they push out with the old and with the new. And people are out there saying, and I'm not here pro Olympics, anti Olympics. I'm watching it from a different lens. I'm watching it to see to pick out things in the Olympics. Okay. I'm somebody who used to be big into sports, you know, not big into it outside of like European soccer. I'm not a big fan of much else, but I am going to watch a lot of these events for the reason, of what is going on with the show. The world is a stage, you know, and to see some of the events, of course. Another thing that happened here, so this is a show, and all these people who want to boycott it, okay, I'm not going to boycott it myself. I'm, gonna actually watch the athletes. I'm gonna actually watch some of the events because they had nothing. The ones that got there, they had nothing to do with this show. It was a show picked by the Olympic Committee, to have this guy fill out their vision. So that's that. That has nothing to do with, water polo or gymnastics or diving, tennis, you name it. It has nothing to do with those events. Anyways, right here. Another mistake at the opening ceremony. And another thing too, there was another mistake too, where they were showing every single boat, of every country under the sun. A lot of countries had three countries to a boat. Okay. So when it gets to the end, they decide not to show the Vietnamese people. They mentioned Vietnam, but nah, we're not gonna show the Vietnam boat. And it's like, you really, you're just gonna, ignore Vietnam? Come on. It's uh shameful. I mean, I've been to Vietnam a couple of times. It's a, lovely country, and it's shameful that they're doing that. And anyways, here's another snafu that I didn't catch myself watching it. Olympics apologized for colossal mistake at opening ceremony. Olympic Games organizers said they deeply apologized for introducing South Korea's athletes as North Korea during the opening ceremony in Paris. As the South Korean athletes waved the nation's flag on a boat down the Seine River on Friday evening, they were announced in both French and English as the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. South Korea is the Republic of Korea. We deeply apologize for the mistake that occurred when introducing the Korean team during the opening ceremony broadcast. The International Olympic Committee said on a post on X. The Vice Minister, Jagmeet, the second Vice Minister of South Korea's Culture, Sports, and Tourism Ministry, requested a meeting with the IOC President Thomas Bach over the incident. The ministry said in a statement Saturday, it said the ministry also asked South Korea's foreign ministry to file a strong government level complaint with the French government. There you go. Statement said that South Korea's Olympic Committee separately asked the organizers of Paris Games to prevent the recurrence of similar incidents. So there you have it on that. One other thing, they started out the whole thing, the whole Olympics event with Steven Spielberg, comparing it to his movies and his creations, you know, and Steven Spielberg is a big advocate for, well, we know who he is. People know who he is, but we also know that he is, part of the club. He is a Zionist. Yes, he does want, Palestine wiped out. And we'll leave it at that. You really could have picked a better, given all things. You really could have picked everything out, but he spends 6 minutes doing this spectacular narrative piece on the Olympics, and throughout history and all that. And me, it's just, and that was right at the beginning. So right from the beginning, I was turned off. Now, just because, people are turned off by an opening ceremonies, I knew it was a show. I, you know, uh, was aware of what I was getting into by watching this, opening ceremonies. So I personally decided to, take it from a different aspect, and I'm not going to boycott the games because, I want to see what else is going on with this show because there's a lot of events and a lot of people are going to be, you know, losing viewership, you name it, just because people say, the opening ceremonies did this, they did that. Like I said, this is my opinion. Nothing to do with it. Had nothing to do with the events, nothing to do with water polo, nothing to do with equestrian, nothing to do with, track and field, nothing whatsoever. And it was all part, okay, it was all part that was planned by the Olympic Committee. So there was a whole plan for this opening ceremony. And you can let something like an opening ceremony ruin your whole experience and boycott it, and that's fine. Hey, I'm all about freedom. I'm all about doing your own thing. But you can also say, hey, screw that opening ceremony. I'm still gonna watch the games. I'm still gonna watch events. I'm still gonna watch basketball, soccer, you name it. You know, and see exactly what is going on. Like I said, I'm actually watching from a different viewpoint through a different lens, kind of like, that movie They Live, to see exactly what is going on. So I have a different aspect, but if you're a sports fan, you want to watch it that way, be my guest. Like I said, this opening ceremony thing had, it was designed, it was all part of a design. And if you want to let it ruin your experience with these games, these shows, Olympic events, you know, be my guest. If you still want to watch the games, be my guest, to each their own. And all I can say is I'm going to tune in the next couple of weeks to see as many events as possible, report on it, and just, see what's part of the show because it does factor in the way that the world's shifting, the way that the world is run, what's going to happen in the future. And a lot of things have been, predicted through these uh, or predicted, shown, you name it, through these ceremonies. So much love to all of you. If you haven't subscribed already, subscribe to Wisdom and Knowledge 5. Follow me on TikTok and Instagram. And thank you for tuning in. This is going to be quite the Olympics. Much love.